That choral anthem was written in the 17th century. Not the music, but the words. The music sound like a wonderful old folk melody from the 19th century. The words are much older. Church has been around for a long time. The church has been changing, growing, serving for a long time. The church as we know it today is not the church that I knew when I was a kid growing up. We have women in ministry now in the Methodist Church. It's an interesting situation that as it stands today, with so much of the world Methodist Church being in Africa, we could not actually get to a point where we could ordain women in ministry today. That's interesting, isn't it? We are in an unusual situation in the United Methodist Church because the majority of United Methodists are, strangely enough, held captive by a minority of the United Methodists. And that minority has joined with all of the folks outside this country in Africa who are United Methodists to give the impression that we are something we are not and somewhere we are not. So we're kind of trapped at a place that is that raises questions. We don't know what's going to happen next. On this day, I'm not reading the Transfiguration story, and I'm glad that Jim shared it with you and with the children. We're not exactly on the mountain peak. In fact, I think we are probably in the tomb. Not because we're dead, but because we don't know what's going to happen next. So I want us to know where we're heading. We are always in the church heading for Easter. We're going to jump there today. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw the stone had been rolled away. She ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we have no idea where they have laid him." And Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved, set out and went toward the tomb. The two were running together, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. I think he was a younger guy. He bent down to look and saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he did not go in. Then Simon Peter came following him, and he went into the tomb. He saw the linen wrappings lying there, and the cloth that had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but rolled up in a place to itself. Then the other disciple, who reached the tomb first, also went in, and he looked around at this empty tomb, and it says he believed. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I'm going to share with you this morning some words from people other than myself. I want you to get a feeling for the way others are feeling today about our present situation. The first one that I'll share with you is from the pastor of the largest United Methodist Church, perhaps in the world. The last time I counted, they had 17,000 members. That's Adam Hamilton's church. He said at General Conference this week in St. Louis, Missouri, the leaders of the Wesleyan Covenant Association, that's the conservative folk, who spent thousands and thousands of dollars and had a lot of people working on this project, orchestrated a defeat of the bishop's proposal for the way forward for the United Methodist Church. In its place, they passed a way backward, a regressive and punitive plan that leaves no room for those who interpret Scripture differently. harms gay and lesbian people and their families, diminishes the witness of the church, and serves to push not only progressives, but likely many centrists out of the church. I wonder if they counted the cost of this victory. I believe the coalition that leaders of the WCA put together has won a battle at General Conference and may have lost the church. They have hurt once more our LGBTQ members, their families, and their friends. They have harmed United Methodist witness, and they stand a good chance of seeing thousands of United Methodist churches leaving the denomination. Adam Hamilton says that under the present regulations passed by this conference and with the requirements and restrictions placed upon it, he's not sure that he could even be ordained today. He's not sure that he would be approved. He may not follow the right thought processes or be able to make the affirmations that they would require. You understand what we've done, just as 8 to 10% of the population is left-handed, 8 to 10% of the population worldwide is also gay. And that means that we have just said to 30 million Americans, many of them Christian, that they are not really welcome in the United Methodist Church. And don't fool yourself, for those who voted for this unfortunate plan, there are going to be a lot of pious words from pulpits this morning. Although a majority of Methodist ministers disagree with this decision, some have pushed for it, and there are going to be a lot of pious words about everybody being welcomed and everybody being loved. I actually heard one person say, though, yeah, but they can't be sanctified. They can't be made holy as they are. I thought that was one of the worst things I've ever heard anybody say. It was an extraordinary thing. This is from Mainstream United Methodists. We are mainstream United Methodists. We're about as mainstream as you can get. The United Methodist Church is about as mainstream as you can get. That's why 2/3 of the United Methodist Church are adversely affected by this decision. Now, if we were some denominations, this issue wouldn't have even come up, wouldn't even been talked about. But we are United Methodists. We are always on the forefront of social causes, social justice, the yearning for community, the love of the neighbor. We are the leaders. Now, you can't get everybody in on that. There is a gospel of grace that is not nearly as popular as a lot of people think it is. And you can build whole churches with thousands of members built around the understanding that if you sanctify people's prejudices, you can get a lot of them in there. Sometimes when I drive by and I see a huge mega church, I say, I wonder what they did wrong. The gospel just is not that popular, children. This is from the mainstream Methodists who have worked so hard to see that this did not happen. There is a lot to be learned from General Conference in 2019, most of it not so good. That does not mean that we are without hope. We do not grieve as others who have no hope. First, both the left and the right agree on the numbers. We had 384 votes for the one church plan. That's the good one. About 333 of those 384 came from the United States. That's 2/3 of the American vote. and then others came from various other places around the world. We needed 50 out of 260 votes from Africa. We thought we had 88. We were dead wrong. But the rest of our numbers were right. That didn't count, of course. All votes are secret at GC, but the information bears out our estimates. Second, that's the first thing I want to say. Second, nothing passed. The traditional plan, that's the one that seemed to pass, was the same unconstitutional mess that was brought into the General Conference. It will all be thrown out at the Judicial Council in April. We were able to essentially filibuster to keep anything from changing, a hollow victory for both sides. We are at status quo. I would say this was worse than a tie. It was a collective failure on the part of our church. So this probably won't fly. But if it doesn't fly, we're just back to where we were, with that ugly language in the book of discipline saying that some people are incompatible with the Christian gospel. That won't fly either. What we need to know is this will not work. And since we came to this point where we expected change, although I didn't, some did, I didn't think it was going to go over. We've come to this point of expectation, though, this point of opportunity, and now that the question has been raised in this extraordinary way and lifted up before us and got us to talking about it, we really can't go back to where we were. Third, and this is interesting, the existing mechanisms of the church are unable to resolve the issue of human sexuality. I'm deeply grateful to the Council of Bishops for stepping out for leadership, but the reality is neither they nor the General Conference could find a way forward. General Conference is irreparably broken. Any hope of a legislative solution to this problem is not there. Fourth, and this is the last one, any solution to this impasse is going to come from outside the existing structure. Well, one thing that's outside the existing structure, I guess, is God, who could reach in and help us work this out, and God will, but he's talking about something else. No one yet knows who or what or where or when or how. Everything right now is just speculation. And it's important not to jump to conclusions. It is equally important that we work with a sense of urgency. Why? Because now the rest of the world, people on the street, look at us and say, those people are Methodists, and you know what they stand for, and you know who they stand against. I have always proudly told people that I am a United Methodist minister. I have worked it into conversations where it didn't even seem to fit. I could be walking along with somebody I didn't even know, and I'd say, you know, I'm a United Methodist minister. I'm proud of it, and it opens a conversation. If I had a bumper sticker on my car right now saying I'm the United Methodist minister, I'd either have to take it off or I'd have to put another one below it. But I'm a good person still, okay? We can't live with this situation. It's amazing that as United Methodists, with 2/3 of us in agreement about this, that we've lived with that ugly language and the discipline, but we have been in this situation where we didn't know what to do. It's like an accident of history. It's like somebody left a banana peel on the sidewalk and we're doing all right, but we walk around and we slip on it and break our hip. What is that banana peel? I don't know when it was. Let's say it was 20 years ago. The United Methodist Church, because the numbers were declining, they thought, if we bring the new African churches in with the United Methodist Church, that's going to make us look as good as the Baptists. Although Baptist numbers are declining too. Well, we did it. And that's the banana peel. That's the slippery slope we got on. And now we have slid down it. And the point is, we're going to have to do something, and we don't know what we're going to do. But let me tell you, children, although it's an urgent matter, we don't need to rush into anything, because I'll tell you something. Look around you. I see people. There are cars in the parking lot. It's getting hard to keep a church alive on the east side of Fort Worth these days, but we're doing okay. We're not setting the woods on fire, but we've actually got a pretty large ministry. Outreach to the world. People know we're here. They know what we think. And you know why that is? Because for some reason, and God only knows, He's been awfully gracious to us at every turn through the years. The Lord has stepped in and given us a way. That's going to happen now too. The Lord will show us a way. God has preserved this church. God has even made it possible for me to continue preaching long after I should probably have stopped. Okay. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I'm still going. God has made that possible. Notice the front of your bulletin talks about the power of His name, the power of His grace. So I'll tell you what, we're in an unusual situation now. Right here, standing at the door of the tomb and looking in. With that young disciple, we're even afraid to step foot inside. But we look at this tomb. It looks like it's empty. It looks like somebody has stolen the body of our Lord. It looks like it's all over. It looks like some horrible thing has happened even on top of the horrible thing that happened on the cross. And we look, and the grave clothes are lying there flattened out, and the cloth that was over His face has been rolled up and put over to the side. Just like somebody got up in the morning and kind of straightened out the bed. He looked and he said, he believed. You look around in this place where we are right now, and you'll know that we have a way forward. And the people called Methodists are going to figure out a way forward. And the day is going to come when I am proud to put that bumper sticker on my car again. Am I confident of this? Absolutely. Will the United Methodist Church lose some members? Maybe. Will people get hurt in the process? Yes. Will the witness of the church go on? Yes. Will you and I be a part of it? Yes. In every death, there is a resurrection. Will you stand as we sing together? Number 707, the hymn of promise.